all of you. And, you know, since it is Valentine's Day, I thought we would talk about love. And, you know, there's the ultimate, the love of God, the love of ourselves, and the love of others. If we don't learn to love ourselves, we can't give what we don't have. We can't love others. And a lot of times we try to get our love from other people. And then we wind up disappointed. So, you know, it's when love is when the ugly parts of you see the worst in me, and we keep standing with each other. You know, none of us are perfect. We are not, and we are going to make mistakes. So, you know, the Bible tells us in 13th chapter of Corinthians, I mean, it really explains what love is. I mean, it explains what love is. That love is, and I'll tell you, in reading this, and it is one of my favorite parts of the favorite scriptures, is that none of us, or I will only say, I fall way short of this. But let's look at what love really is. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not, it does not show envy, it is not boastful, it's not proud, it's not rude, it's not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongdoings. Love does not delight in evil, but respects, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. That is a big list and the hard things to do. I think, you know, none of us can achieve that, but that is what true love is. So I always go back to what, you know, because I am such a 12-stepper, I always go back to what the literature tells us. What the literature tells us in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. What it says is love and tolerance is our creed. That is our code. That is what the 12 steps is based on, is love and tolerance is our code. And love is limitless, while tolerance requires boundaries. So can you get that? Love is limitless. We can just love, love, love. But with tolerance comes boundaries. And, you know, unconditional love, and that's pretty pure. You know, I guess the purest love that there is, most unconditional love, is between a parent and a child, particularly before they get to be teenagers. But when, you know, between a parent and a child, I think that is probably the most pure love that there is on earth. And, you know, but tolerance, we do have to have some tolerance with other people. And what tolerance brings is boundaries. We must set boundaries. You know, because we shouldn't or should not, I don't like the shouldn't, enable harmful behavior. You know, and Alcoholics Anonymous, they are very, I mean, we're very receiving. You know, AA is about open arms. You know, everyone is welcome. But I will tell you, they do not accept unacceptable behavior. If a person gets in there and starts acting up and disrupts everyone, they'll ask you to leave. And particularly if someone comes in drinking, they'll show all kinds of love and tolerance, but after a while, enough is enough, and they will set boundaries. So that's what tolerance brings. It's one thing to love unconditionally, but love and tolerance is there together. And so healthy boundaries. I don't care how much you love someone, how much you adore someone. If you don't have healthy boundaries with them, it's hard to continue to show love. So there's some things that we can do in order to take care of ourselves and still love other people. We really, this is the day of love. And really, when you think of Valentine's Day, it's more about coupleships or, but it does kind of cover a wide range of love. You can go to those card stores, or they don't have card stores anymore, but the counters where the Valentines are, and there's a Valentine specific for anyone in your life. That is big business. Valentine's is right up there close to Christmas as far as gift giving, and this is the biggest year for florists, and so it is about giving. And you guys out there, any of you guys listening, you better remember that. If you want to have a happy wife by the end of the day, don't forget Valentine's. And it does, for most women, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take 24 roses, 1 rose, a little card, or, go out for a hamburger. If you can't afford a dinner, go out for some. But anyway, it's about remembering. It's just about remembering and thinking of each other. So, one of the ways that you can learn to build tolerance and show healthier love, build tolerance for yourself and for others, and to really show healthy love, like I said, to yourself and to others, is number 1, take ownership of your feelings. Now, we're going to have feelings, people, and they're not all going to be rosy. I'll tell you, there's going to be some women it's going to be disappointed, and come in the morning or tonight, they're going to have some big feelings if their guy didn't remember them. There's something, I think that's a lot to put on guys, but it's kind of put on guys anyway, And of course, the women will usually do something, and then if the husband doesn't, it makes them look even twice as bad. So I keep saying you guys need to do something. And if a man is not taught in childhood to be a giver of gifts, if it's not married to him by his parents, or, they grow up not knowing that. My husband, I was his 3rd wife, and he'd been married to the first 2 7 years each, and then when we were married 7 years, he said I got awful nervous, which that was a joke. We were married 51 years. But he did not know how important it was to give gifts to his wife. So I don't know if that had anything to do with the other 2 leaving him. I think it had more to do with his drinking. But he didn't know how to be a gift giver. He didn't. And of course, here I was with lots of expectations. And, I can still remember the hurt, on special occasions that he wouldn't remember. He would, he would forget. And so as I got healthier in Al-Anon and realized the man had never been taught, he didn't know, and so would teach people how to treat us. So I started teaching him how to be a gift giver. And I will tell you, he loved it. Once he kind of got the essence of how important it was to me, I mean, by the time he got into Alzheimer's, and then even while he was sick, he still remembered gift giving. And then it went to big gifts. I didn't need or want any big gift. It was just that remembrance. And I will tell you, we were married 51 years, and we had 20 wonderful years. And it doesn't mean that we didn't have some good years, or good days. Not a lot of good years, but good days. And so, if he was here, he would probably tell you that, that everything wasn't always roses with me either. But we hung in there together, and we learned from each other, and we taught each other how to love each other. And so I miss him every day, but I really miss him on special occasions, because he would come in with, he got into buying me jewelry. And so today he would come in with flowers, or he knew not to bring me candy. He finally learned that. But he would, buy me. Anyway, it doesn't matter what he bought. He remembered is what I want to say. And I've got some beautiful flowers sitting here from my dear friend Misty. She remembered and fixed me the prettiest bouquet. And so I'm going to tell you 4 tips for building tolerance for others and showing love. So number 1 is take ownership of your feelings. Recognize that no one can make you feel a certain way without your permission. I would always say that Arl hurt my feelings. That's a pretty powerful stance to give to someone. You hurt my feelings, and it's more energizing to say, I feel some anger when you don't do this and this or something else. But anyway, the second thing is, number 2 is develop curiosity. In many cases, when we lack tolerance towards others, it's simply because we don't understand them. Have some curiosity about your partner, what their wants and needs are. Curiosity about your children, what they might want or need. We usually give what we want to receive, and a lot of times the other person's disappointed. But have curiosity about the other person to see, what angers them, when we have lack of tolerance toward them, a lot of times it's simply because we don't understand them. When we have lack of tolerance, it's simply because we don't understand the other person. So really develop enough curiosity that you get to know your loved one, your beloved, even if you've been married for years, or even your children. Get to know them a little better, and get to know if you push that button, that's the reaction you're going to get. If you push that, that's the reaction. And also with yourself, if you have certain buttons that if people push them, you're going to react, learn to keep those buttons covered up. Or, protect your own buttons where, people can't push them and you react. That's what good boundary setting is set boundaries around your loved ones. Because like I said, they know your vulnerable places, and they'll say things that can be more hurtful than if anyone else in the world said it, it wouldn't hurt them like someone that they love. Someone that they love says it. So, develop curiosity. And one of the things is push, when something comes up, don't let them push your buttons, and push the pause button and take a step back. And when in doubt, don't. You know, Jesus Christ, when people, you know, he would deal with people and deal with people and deal with people. And if they didn't want anything to do with him, after a while, what he would do is he would turn his positive side to their negative side. He would shake the dust off of his sandals and he'd walk away. And when you're dealing with intolerable people, people that you can't, you know, make sense with right at that moment, walk away, and, you know, push that pause button. And when in doubt, don't. When in doubt, don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. So take a step back and notice when something comes up. If you can set a boundary long enough and notice how that person is reacting, and just let them react all they want to. And then you take a step back and go on your way. Another thing is change your perception. You know, we can't always see things through another person's eyes. But if we could stop, because we're always so busy seeing our part, well, if they could only see my part, if they could see through my eyes, if they could stop a minute and kind of see through the other person's eyes. And that's really through Al-Anon, is what Al-Anon taught me, to quit putting my husband and all of his behavior under a microscope and start putting that you know, I can't remember, what is that little magnifying glass? Yes, thank you. Put that magnifying glass on me. Thanks, Bradley. Wasn't that Bradley? Put that magnifying glass on.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here to help. I'm so glad to help.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I needed that. You know, take that magnifying glass and put it up against yourself instead of looking for other people's faults, you know. And, you know, people are people, and they're going to say things, they're going to do things that we don't like. And you know, the best thing to do is to not react. We become reacting machines. Someone does something and we react to it. And then they react, and then they react, and then pretty soon you got a full-blown blow-up. And so try to see the situation through the other person's eyes. Now, I want to tell you, that takes grown-ups to do that. That takes grown-up people to do that. To pause, take a step back, and see things through another person's eyes. We never know what's going through their minds. We do not. And then after you change your perception, you know, and kind of see things a little different, number 4 is practice respect. Respect yourself enough to not get engaged in, you know, a family feud or whatever, a feud with your spouse. You know, respect yourself. And you know, one thing in respecting yourself is not tolerating an intolerable situation. And that's where tolerance comes in and healthy boundaries comes in. Know what to tolerate and what not to tolerate. And don't just take abuse. And sometimes the best thing to do is just walk away, get away, put a break, you know. But practice respect for the other person. Respect that other person. One of the things that helped me with my husband is starting to see him through the eyes of what he did on a daily basis. What he did. I'll tell you what that man did. He was one of the smartest men I have ever known. Our children, when they got to college, they would send their papers back. You know, that was way before internet, and they couldn't send them, you know, through the computer and all. They would mail them to him, or they'd bring him home, and they'd say, but he would proofread every term paper. He had an 8th grade education, but he was brilliant. He read, he knew numbers, and you know, when he put in his own business, he didn't have the self-esteem. He had put in businesses for lots of companies and would build them up. And finally, I talked him into going into business for himself, and he liked the esteem that he needed, but he did it with my hand pushing him. He had my handprint on his back. But one of the things through Al-Anon that you know, we're all different people, and my husband was very different from me. He was not affectionate, didn't require a lot of affection, and I was touchy-feely and wanted, you know, affection that didn't always lead to sex. And so one of the things I had to start doing is respecting what that man did for us, and I'm saying us, his family. You know, we were in the oil business, we were, and it was a roller coaster. Sometimes, you know, we had money and he was free with it. He was very generous. He was generous to our children, his employees, everyone. And then there'd be a drop in the oil business and we wouldn't have a lot of money. And he went through that, and our kids, and I don't believe they ever had an inkling of what we were going through when there was an oil bust. And my husband absolutely took care of us. I don't care, regardless of money or no money. He worked. That's what he brought to the family. He worked, and he financially supported us. I never worked outside the home. He didn't want me to, until I decided it was time to go back to school, and I, you know, became a counselor and all of that. But I had high regard for my husband and his ability to make us a living, and I had a lot of respect for him, and our children respected him, had high respect for him. If your children don't respect you as parents, there's something you're missing. You know, now when they're 13 or 14, 15, until they get past that, they don't respect anyone most of the time. So just know that that's the stage they're in. But teach your children respect, and practice respect in your home for your children and for your spouse. And remember, number 5, that tolerance, and I keep going back to tolerance. We can love someone till hell freezes over, and we can tell them how much we love them. But tolerance is really showing them how much we love. We tolerate their bad behavior to a point, and then after a while, you turn around. You don't tolerate it. You don't tolerate intolerable behavior. That's when you learn to love yourself enough, you know, and not tolerate it, to turn around, you know, get out of the scene, get away from them for a while, take a break. So learn to know that we are simply free to take care of ourselves, and to decide what is good for us, what we want. And we are free to act. We're free to act in our own behalf, but not to react. When we react and keep reacting, that's when the chaos, we invite them to react, and we react, blah. And so it's about taking action on your own behalf. Do what you need to do to take care of you. Because if you don't love yourself enough to take care of yourself, no one else is going to love you and respect you. So, tolerance is a power that works deeply underground. It's like it's a stream that runs through us, that tolerance. And it is one of the greatest tools in our daily life, is to have tolerance. We can find things every day of the week. Employees can upset us. Our employers can, our spouses, our children, the traffic. There's people out there out to get us, and so the tolerance is about tolerating intolerant people, but then you don't have to keep taking it. It's about turning away, like Christ did. Turn your positive side to their negative side and walk away. What else should I write down here? While respect means having a high regard for someone, it also means respecting yourself enough to take care of yourself and to get yourself around. If you surround yourself by unlovable people who, don't respect you, that's on you. That's not them. If you continue to circle yourself around people that are intolerant with you and that don't respect you, that's about you. It has really not that much to do with them. There's something inside of you that says that I need to be beat up, beat me up, call me bad names, so that's the work that you need to do about learning to love yourself and how to set better boundaries. So, like I said, I'm going back to this. Love and tolerance starts with you. It's the love of God that is the number one, and then loving ourselves. Because if you don't love yourself, you don't have anything to give to anyone else. You're going in there to get something. If you don't have love for yourself, you're going into relationships to get something, and then they're going to disappoint you. We disappoint each other all the time. We're human beings, and we are going to disappoint each other. But if that's where we get our good feelings about ourselves, you're up the creek without a paddle. You have got to respect yourself, love yourself, and tolerate your own imperfections before you can other people. Remember, you can really love someone and have tolerance for them without really liking them. You don't have to like people to love them. They're going to have things that you don't like about them. But you can love people and not like them and not choose to be around them. So I was thinking about, and all of this that I'm saying comes straight out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, pretty much. I've added a few things to it. And it comes out of step 7. And, there is a prayer at the end of every step. On some of the steps, you have to look for the prayer, but there's a prayer at the end of every step. If you ever wonder what they are, let me know. I may even do a workshop on the prayers of the steps. But step 7, I love this, and it's usually said at the end of after you do a 4th and 5th step. A 4th step is looking at your inventory, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it's not all the ugly, it's about the good stuff. And then step 5 is giving it to someone in the program, a sponsor, someone that understands, that won't judge you. And then what they're going to help you see through your 4th and 5th step, they're going to help you see what your character defects are, not your family. Sorry, you don't get that. You're going to get to see what your character defects are and what you need to get to work, what you need to work on. And if that's lack of tolerance, or if that's, whatever, they are going to help you, your sponsor will help you see what your character defects are. And that's all step 6 is. And step 6 is a biggie, because if you can't do step 6 and see what your own character defects are, you're not going to be able to move any farther in the program. Step 6 is an important step, because you get to say, oh my God, I am all of that and something else. You know, you get to see those character defects. And then you just get willing to have God remove them. And then step 7, you begin to ask God to remove them. And so I love the prayer in step 7. And I'm going to close my part with this prayer at step 7. And most sponsors will have you read this after you do step 7. But it says, my Creator, I am now willing, because that's when you have looked at your defective characters. I mean, your defective character. We don't get to inventory them. We get to inventory us. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, the good and the bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defective character that stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. So step 7 is we ask God to remove those character defects, and we can't do them. Now, we can begin to not and be conscious of them, because we go unconscious with bad behavior. We go unconscious when we're into our character defects. And so recovery is about staying conscious, and we're not going to all the time. Something is going to be said, it's going to trigger something in us. And if we don't walk away and get away from the situation, it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the steps work. I really didn't mean for this talk to be about the steps, but I never know what I'm going to talk about until the morning that I do it. And I kept thinking about love in the romantic sense, and it is Valentine's and all, but love needs to be all year long, every day, to love ourselves enough to tolerate our own bad behavior in that of others, but also to have tolerance to where we can set boundaries with people. And when we're not treated with the highest respect that we think that we deserve, set a boundary, walk away, take care of yourself. And the big thing is respect others. Respect others. Give others love, dignity, and respect. That's really what the 12 steps is all about, is how to give love, dignity, and respect to ourselves and others. And I will tell you, as human beings, we don't have that. We're just vessels. And God pours that into us. And if we want to have and show love, tolerance, and patience, we need to seek God's help with that. God, help me be more tolerant. God, help me to be more patient. God, help me to be more loving. Help me to be more tolerant. And like I said, tolerant of ourselves. We beat ourselves up way more than other people do. So that's what I have. It's going to be Valentine's Day all day today. And I'm going to go do a work of love. And I don't know how it's going to come out, but I'll keep you posted. I have a big greenhouse, and my grandson is getting married May the 3rd. And every summer I have zinnias in my yard. Well, him and his girlfriend were here last summer. She saw the zinnias. She loves zinnias. And that's what they want for their wedding. And my grandson wants me to grow them. So I've got them planted. And y'all help pray for zinnias to grow. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a trip somewhere to get some zinnias. Now, I won't fudge. I won't tell them I grew them. But I've got so many pots of zinnias, and they're all up. They're my little babies. I'm just nursing them, and really, zinnias like to be left alone. They're pretty much avoidance. You know, they're not like sunflowers that just want so much attention, you know. So zinnias are like, okay, I've sprouted, I'm up, now leave me alone, get away from me, let me dry out and grow. So say a prayer for those zinnias. And that's a love, that is a gift of love for them. If I wind up with just enough zinnias to make my grandson a boutonniere and maybe a little nosegay for his girlfriend, that'll be good enough. But I'm hoping we can fill the church. I don't know that I'm going to have that many. But find something today that you can do loving for someone else, because love is an action word. Love is action, and love is spelled T-I-M-E. You can tell people all day long, I love you, and then walk out that door and not ever spend any time with them. It takes time that you carve out of your day to spend with those that you love. And so that's kind of what I would like to leave you with on my part is time. We all have 24 hours. And what are you going to do with that 24 hours? And it does not take a lot of time to show love, but you can say it, and it doesn't mean much unless you put action to it. Okay, so let's talk about love. What are y'all going to do today? Do you have a sweetheart? What you going to do for your sweetheart? Are you expecting your sweetheart to do something for you?